Falcon then. I tell you.
Nah, that's Captain America.
As many of you know, I've trashed the MCU pretty hard over the last couple years. I haven't really liked an MCU movie since 2017. I think the most recent MCU movies like Endgame, Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Far From Home, etc. have just had some terrible filmmaking, in some cases terrible writing, and some pretty bad pacing. The filmmaking most of the time is extremely bland. However, that started to change with when WandaVision came out, and while I wouldn't say that was really great, it at least had very creative filmmaking and an overall mostly creative story. The finale definitely wasn't very good, and it overall wasn't great. I loved certain episodes, but it overall wasn't really that good. However, the filmmaking was very creative, and I really appreciated that. At the same time though, I didn't love WandaVision, so I still wasn't excited for Falcon the Winter Soldier. In fact, I never was. Then I saw the first episode, and I actually really liked it. That's why I'm extremely depressed to say this, but I have to be honest. I think Falcon the Winter Soldier is the worst content in the entire MCU.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I went there. Iron Man 2, Captain America, Spider-Man Far From Home, Ant-Man and the Wasp, none of them, and I mean none of them, are as bad as Falcon and the Winter Soldier ended up. Like I said, the first few episodes were actually really good. It's the last part of the season that actually fundamentally kills the show. It kills it so hard that there was no coming back. I know, because it didn't come back. By the time the finale rolled around, I was really hoping it would return to being good, like episode 1 or episode 3. But that didn't exactly happen. My reaction was something like this.
Oh no, my worst fears have been realized.
But to be honest, I think looking back on the show now, I recognize a lot more problems that led to this terrible finale. So I'm gonna talk about some of those first, and then I'll just get into the awful last episodes. Sam Wilson in this show is a parasite.
Parasite.
He's actually a horrible person in this show. In the other movies, from Winter Soldier to Endgame, I actually really liked Falcon. I thought he was a pretty good character, especially in Winter Soldier. I like his character. I think he had good motivations. I think he had good goals. I think he was a good hero. I think he was a really good character, especially when the Russos handled him. However, this show just nuked his character really hard, to the point where I don't know if there's any way he can actually come back. They have just turned him into this disgusting parasite, like I said. Disgusting human being. It's not Anthony Mackie's fault, don't get me wrong. I think he gives a fantastic performance, and I overall still love Anthony Mackie.
Do you not follow Tom on Instagram?
Baby, I'm an adult. I follow no man.
All my problems with Sam come from the script and how awful it is. I'm going to play for all of you 2 clips, and I want you to see if you can see the major criticism I'm about to make, and the reason why I think he's such a terrible person in this show.
How does it feel?
Like it's someone else's.
It isn't.
Thank you. I'll do my best.
That's why it's yours.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
We need new heroes, ones suited for the times we're in.
One more time, just to bash you guys in the head with it just a little bit more.
I'll do my best.
That's why it's yours.
I don't know if there's ever been a greater symbol, but it's more about the man who propped it up.
Literally a few months after he said,
I'll do my best.
he gives it up like it was nothing. Steve was someone he considered his friend, maybe even his best friend. We watched these two be friends from Winter Soldier all the way to Endgame. Steve trusted him so much that he gave him his shield and passed down the mantle to him. And his response was telling Steve he'd do his best. Then a few months later, he just changed his mind, gave the shield, and didn't even care. Congratulations, Falcon the Winter Soldier. You made a character more unlikable than Captain Marvel.
You're gonna give me your jacket, your helmet, and your motorcycle, and in return, I'm gonna let you keep your hand.
Now, at first, I was actually okay with this because I was 100% sure that this was part of Falcon's arc. But it isn't. See, in the second episode, Falcon is called out by Bucky, further convincing me that this was going to be a vital part of his arc, because that's how the first 2 episodes treated it.
Steve believed in you. He trusted you.
He gave you that shield for a reason. That shield, that is everything he stood for. That is his legacy. He gave you that shield and you threw it away like it was nothing.
So maybe he was wrong about you, and if he was wrong about you, then he was wrong about me.
Bucky is 100% correct here. He is completely justified in being angry at Sam. We all are. But you know what's funny? You know what's funny about this really stupid show? Bucky is the one who apologizes.
When Steve told me what he was planning, I don't think either of us really understood what it felt like for Blackman to be handed the shield. I owe you an apology.
At this point, I think the show might be trying to be bad. There is no reason for Bucky to apologize. First of all, Falcon's decision was never established to have anything to do with race. Race in this show isn't even really brought up to this degree until episode 5. Sam's actual decision had nothing to do with that.
Why didn't you take up the mantle?
Steve first told me about the shield. The first words I said were, "It feels like it belongs to someone else. And someone else is Steve."
Sam betrayed his best friend. He looked Captain America right in the eye, said he'd do his best, then a few months later, changed his mind. There is absolutely no reason Bucky should apologize. Sam is the one who should be apologizing because he said he would take on the mantle of Captain America and do his best, and then he just changed his mind and didn't do it. And you know what the worst part is? He never even cares. The reason Sam becomes Captain America isn't because he realizes he was wrong. He never even says sorry for what he did. The reason he becomes Captain America is because of a pep talk from Isaiah Bradley. Don't worry, we'll get to that freaking guy later.
They will never let a black man be Captain America.
That right there seems to be the only reason Sam even wants to be Captain America. To be honest, I'm not sure. If that's not it, I honestly don't know what is. There's a brief talk between him and his sister where she asks if he's gonna let Isaiah get in his head. But still, Isaiah is really the thing that got in his head, making him want to be Captain America to, I guess, prove his point wrong. Also, if that's not it, then I guess Bucky saying sorry? Even then, he's training with the shield. Isaiah is the only thing I can think of actually making him want to be there. It's definitely not that he feels bad, because if that was the case, the show would have shown me. I don't know how anyone can possibly argue that Sam feels bad about giving up the shield, because that's never said in the show. I have watched the show. I rewatched that abortion called episode 5. And nowhere, in any of those episodes, including episode 5, does Sam say, "Look, I was wrong. I'm sorry." It never happens. He never acknowledges that he even made a mistake, and that's the problem. If he does care that he gave up the shield, then I want someone to link me a scene or tell me which episode and the time code where he actually says it. I challenge you to actually give that to me. So what could have been a really good arc turned into Sam becoming Captain America, not because he cared about Captain America's wishes, but because he got a pep talk from Isaiah Bradley and a new look on life.
Whole new perspective on life.
Am I really supposed to want Captain America 4 with the guy who looked Captain America in the eye and lied to him? Really? I don't want Captain America 4 with this guy, not because I'm racist, but because he's a terrible person in this universe. This show has some very weird inconsistencies. First of all, I get that the Flag Smashers have the super soldier steroids, but I mean, the idea that Bucky can't restrain any of them is kind of insane. In episode 2, Bucky gets destroyed along with Sam on the truck, but he himself is a super soldier who has military training. He's a former assassin and soldier. There is no reason he should not be able to obtain or beat at least one of these guys, including Karli. These guys just have the serum. None of them actually have military experience. So the idea that Bucky can't restrain a single one of them is kind of insane to me. I get he's pulling his punches and not trying to kill anyone, but I mean, again, he's a former assassin and soldier, plus he has the super soldier serum. He should be able to restrain them. That just doesn't make any sense. Walker, before he gets super soldier serum, is also kind of incompetent for no reason. I mean, I like John Walker, but he's very incompetent in the first couple episodes, even though he won 3 Medals of Honor. Like, okay, I get it. Karli has super soldier serum, but he should at least be able to stand a chance and not get brutalized by them. Yeah, they're strong, and I don't care if they necessarily beat him, because he doesn't have the serum. He just has training and could probably at least hurt them, but they have super strength or whatever, so I get it. I'm not saying he needs to beat all of them, but, like, how is he, like, this incompetent? He gets brutalized by these guys. I don't know. I just found it kind of weird, to say the least. I also think it's strange that the Wakandans are totally cool with the new Captain America dying. I mean, I get it. Zemo is very important to Wakanda, and he needs to go to prison. That being said, Walker was also there to go to prison. So basically, the Dora Milaje was willing to kill John Walker to get a prisoner that they were both trying to get. Does Wakanda not realize that, you know, the government would not be too happy with them if they killed Captain America? If that's the case, why are they trying to kill him with a spear? That doesn't make any sense. Bucky and Sam are also unnecessarily cruel towards John Walker. Don't get me wrong, John Walker makes a mistake in episode 4, but before that, they were unnecessarily cruel towards him. They wouldn't even work with him because they hated this guy. In fact, I guess a lot of other viewers hated him, but why? He wasn't like Homelander. He's a sympathetic guy trying to do the right thing. John Walker didn't do anything wrong until episode 4. So why did Bucky and Sam mistreat him so much? Now, yeah, for them, I kind of thought they'd go through an arc and resolve it, but it never happens. It's so weird. Sam and Bucky mistreat this guy literally the whole time, then they break his arm, and they never care. Bucky and Sam never recognize that they were wrong to mistreat him literally the whole time. Because I guess Bucky and Sam are just gonna be evil in this show. Bucky and Sam, the true villains of the show. Hashtag justice for John Walker, man. John Walker was nice enough not to arrest Sam and Bucky after they decided to break the Sokovia Accords and go do this on their own. He's literally the nicest guy. But what makes it even worse is Sam Wilson sympathizes more with Karli, a terrorist, despite what the idiot says. She's a terrorist, but Sam sympathizes more with her than the guy who lost his best friend. John Walker literally did nothing wrong until episode 4, and that was done because he lost his best friend. But Sam still sympathizes more with Karli than John Walker. That doesn't make any sense. It makes Sam look incredibly stupid. Sam barely empathized or cared about John Walker. He always mistreated him. But he's always so kind to Karli and sympathizes with her so much. That's so stupid. Sam, I guess, sympathized with her because she had a point?
She's not wrong. For 5 years, people have been welcomed into countries that have kept them out using barbed wire. It wasn't just one community coming together, it was the entire world coming together. Just like that, it goes right back to the way it used to be. To them, at least Karli's doing something.
Wasn't Hydra also, quote-unquote, doing something and had a point? So did Thanos and Zemo. Sam, you're kind of stupid. I still can't fathom the fact that Sam has more empathy for a terrorist than John Walker. It truly is astounding. Bucky, of all people, should have some empathy for John Walker. Bucky was nearly killed by Iron Man in Civil War because Bucky killed his parents with his bare hands. He, of all people, should understand John Walker and be a little more empathetic, but instead, he's not.
You don't want to do this.
Yeah, we do.
Why are you making me do this?
Why are you making me do this?
He just does not care, and it really annoys me. Walker literally did nothing to you. Have some more empathy, please. Let's be honest, you've all been waiting for this. You can't talk about the show without talking about the racism elements because it's a pretty key part about the show. Racism is directly tied into Sam's arc, so yes, I have to talk about it. Let me just make it clear, I don't care if this show tackled racism. I honestly don't. I could care less. In fact, I think that's fine as long as they do it subtly and, you know, execute it well, but that didn't really happen in this show. The way the show tackled racism makes absolutely no sense. The first problem is with Isaiah Bradley.
Could have been the next.
The next? What? Blonde hair, blue eyes, stars and stripes. The entire world's been chasing that great white hope since he first got dosed with that serum.
Okay, first of all, racism.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, stars and stripes.
Isaiah, just because he has blonde hair and blue eyes doesn't mean he's a bad man.
Shut the up.
They will never let a black man be Captain America. And even if they did, no self-respecting black man would ever want to be.
Isn't War Machine / Iron Patriot just Black Iron Man? Tony Stark was always a private superhero. He never worked for the government. If anything, he just made fun of them.
You want my property? You can't have it. But I did you a big favor. I have successfully privatized world peace. I tried to play ball with these ass clowns.
It wasn't until Civil War where Tony actually worked for the government. Civil War was really the first time Tony ever actually served the government with the Accords. That's it though. For that, he was pretty well known for not, obeying the government. He certainly didn't work for them, at least until Civil War. However, before Civil War, James Rhodes basically was the government's Iron Man. With the War Machine suit, it was made after Rhodey had brought the military the Iron Man Mark II suit. And from then, the War Machine suit was made. In Iron Man 3, he became Iron Patriot. They trust him so much to be the hope for the country that he got to protect the president. Yes, that wasn't actually Rhodey, but the president and the people thought that actually was Rhodey. After that, he went back to War Machine, but still, even as War Machine, he still serves the government, and he's still Black Iron Man. Now Tony's dead. What's the only Iron Man that's left? War Machine. Is the government gonna care? No. He's always been Black Iron Man, and now he's just still Black Iron Man. Is the government gonna care? No. Does anyone care? No. So why does it only apply to Iron Man, but not Captain America? For crying out loud, in Iron Man 3, he was asked to change his name from War Machine to Iron Patriot so people would blend with him more and see him more as a hero. Again, he is Black Iron Man even when Tony's alive.
War Machine was a little too aggressive, all right? This sends a better message.
They will never let a black man be Captain America.
But the little black man be their Iron Man, yeah, they'll let that happen, but a Black Captain America, no, that's too much. What's even funnier is the finale actually proves my point. In the finale, literally everyone cheers for him, including some senators and politicians. Like I said, nobody actually cares. The other thing with the racism in this show, the other problem that doesn't happen as much but happens a few times, a lot of times the show will randomly emphasize race when it's completely unnecessary. For example, episode 2.
So you're telling me that there was a black super soldier decades ago and nobody knew about it?
Sam, why are you emphasizing the fact that he's black? That doesn't matter. Are you more concerned with the fact that he's a black super soldier rather than the fact that he is a super soldier who is hidden from even Steve by Bucky? It feels so forced. Like, how do you write that and not laugh at yourself? That's just hilarious. Now we're almost to the end of the video where I can finally stop talking and you can start hitting that dislike button and calling me racist in the comments. But we have one more section to go through. The finale. Yes. The finale was so bad, I thought it deserved its own section on the video. So let's make this quick. We have a lot to make fun of. So it starts off with Karli. Basically, she's finally putting her plan to action, which was basically to kidnap the people inside who are going to make this vote. The whole show, they were talking about this vote, and I guess it's going to hurt the borders or something. It's a big part of their plan. The Flag Smashers don't like this vote that's happening. So their plan, I guess, is to kidnap the politicians who are going to vote on it and tell them, hey, don't do this or we're going to hurt you. Wait, what? Hold on. What is that going to do, though? Okay, yeah, they might not vote on it at that point, but won't that convince them more to vote on it? Especially if you're doing this. After you let them go, theoretically, sure, they might not vote on it, but after that, they'd probably speak out on it and say, yeah, I was held hostage, and it wouldn't exactly work out for her. So wouldn't it make a lot more sense to just kill the people who are gonna vote? This whole plan doesn't make any sense whatever way you slice it, but the one she picked makes the least amount of sense you could possibly make. Like, that's not gonna do anything. If anything, that's just gonna make them wanna vote more because you're doing this. But intellect isn't exactly this show's strong suit, so let's just move on. Next, we see Bucky's out there, ready to go inside when a man asks him if he's supposed to be here. Then he takes off his mask, revealing it's been Sharon Carter. Wait, what? I guess this is a callback to Winter Soldier, but she had this the whole time? Why does she even have it? She doesn't use it the entire episode. In Winter Soldier, Nat had it to play this lady from the board, and then she took it off when she revealed herself, so she actually used it there. Why does she even have this? She's not using it. She spends the rest of the episode not putting it on. It'd be one thing if she showed him it was her and then put it back on, but now I'm just asking, why do you even have that? She didn't even use it. She literally used it for like a few seconds just for Bucky and then just didn't put it back on. Like, that's a very useful disguise. You can basically get anywhere. In fact, she does without the disguise. So why does she have it? Why has she not been using it this whole time? How long has she had this thing? You know what? Sorry, I forgot. This is Falcon the Winter Soldier. Logic does not matter. At least the show certainly doesn't think so. If it did, it would have been a much better show. Oh, and by the way, before the defense comes at me about how she's a fugitive, I just like to say, she says this.
Relax, no one's looking for me here.
So then the Flag Smashers attack, sending the politicians out of there into the trucks, which is what they want, and we get our first look at Sam as Captain America, and I'll admit, he looks pretty cool. I like that costume. That's enough positivity, let's get back to negatives. Batroc comes out of nowhere and starts to fight Falcon because that's what he's wanted the whole show, and then we get to Bucky and Sharon down, and they see the evacuation's already started, and they see one guy escorting them, and Bucky says, that's one of the Flag Smashers. But, wait, how could you possibly know that? We've never seen this man in the entire show. How could you possibly know this guy was a Flag Smasher? You've never seen him before. As far as I recall, he's completely new. Bucky had no encounter with him, so how can he possibly know he's a Flag Smasher? While all this is happening, Karli decides to call Bucky for some reason, because I guess they had a connection or something, maybe it was off screen, who knows. Why did Bucky just stop in his tracks? It's a phone. You can keep walking while you have the phone. At the time, he was trying to save people from being kidnapped, so you know, save people from being kidnapped. You can still talk to her while going down there. He started to, but then he stops and runs the other way outside onto a motorcycle. But why? Sharon and you were supposed to go down there and save the people, but then you didn't, just ignored them because of the phone call from Karli and went to go chase Karli. What? I also just personally love that she asks him straight up if he's ever fought for anything other than himself.
I'm fighting for something bigger than myself. And with all the bodies you've collected, have you ever been able to say the same?
Has the soldier who was brainwashed into killing a bunch of enemies of the Hydra and, you know, the former soldier who fought Hydra back in World War II, has he ever been able to fight for anything bigger than himself? Nope, I don't think so. It's not like he's famous for doing that. It's like the writers just gave up on this episode and just didn't know what to write. So Sam beats Batroc, John Walker comes around and says hi to Karli, and they get into a fight, and that's all nice and all. And then Falcon goes for the helicopter with the people inside of it, and the guy takes off, and he starts to nosedive. He nosedives, and then he gets immediately back up. Like, I'm sorry, gravity is not your best friend in this scenario. That helicopter should have gone splat. Wait, sorry, I forgot. Logic doesn't matter. Sam isn't able to get inside the helicopter, no shocker there. So he has Red Wing go around and scan for who in there is a pilot. And conveniently enough, some woman in there is a pilot. You may be wondering, when was it established that Red Wing was able to do this? Idiot. It wasn't established, but that doesn't matter. Take some notes from Tenet, please.
Don't try to understand it. Feel it.
The helicopter comes crashing down into Falcon, he curls his wings up into a little ball thing, and he has his shield up, and the helicopter hits him, and he's not in any pain at all. I'm sorry, I know I say this a lot, but what? Writers, what? First of all, him even being able to curl those wings like that should hurt a lot because of where his jetpack is and how it is. Like, that should at least take a massive toll on his shoulders. And of course, the big one, a helicopter falls on him, and it bounces off. What? He's not even fazed by it. Look, he did not even move. I understand it's the strongest metal on Earth, but come on, you're really telling me that it's like this super indestructible and not even a helicopter can break it even a little bit? In fact, Falcon won't even be fazed by it? Are you serious? Like what, are you also gonna tell me a moon can't break it? Come on, man, the shield isn't just this magical force. He should have at the very least moved back. Like, come on. I don't care if the wings are even made of vibranium. Vibranium is strong metal. It doesn't mean it can't be moved. If a helicopter hits very strong metal, the metal, even if it doesn't break by some miracle, is still gonna move back. Falcon should have at the very least moved or just said ow. Something.
Don't try to understand it. Feel it.
I am so sorry. I forgot again. So Bucky and John Walker are fighting the Flag Smashers and Karli. Walker's fighting Karli. Karli somehow escapes Walker, even though this is kind of stupid. They obviously just need Walker out of the way. But come on, man. Walker's a trained military soldier who won 3 Medals of Honor, and he has the serum now. She should be at least more injured. There's no way she should have gotten away from him in this way. I'm sorry, that's just ridiculous. Writers, please, stop depowering characters just to get them out of the scene. It's lazy. Just come up with a clever way to get them out of the scene if you need them out of the scene. It isn't a hard concept. Just stop being lazy. Karli gets away and she gets into the truck full of hostages and she starts to drive it off a cliff and it's about to fall. John Walker sees this and has a really good moment where he decides to save the hostages instead of killing Infus Ness. Thankfully, Walker goes to the truck and he starts to pull the truck up when some flag smashers attack him and he falls down and the truck, because of this, is also about to fall. It looks like all hope is lost with John Walker on the ground along with Bucky. But then, a mysterious hero catches the truck. What you're about to see is the single worst moment in the entire MCU and one of the worst moments in comic book history. Here we go.
What?
Yes, they not only wrote that scene, they not only executed that scene, but they also kept that scene in. I didn't think that helicopter stunt could be topped, but congratulations, show, you topped it in like under 10 minutes. This is the creme de la creme of stupidity right here. What even are the stakes in the show anymore? You got a human with a jetpack surviving getting hit with a helicopter and lifting a truck. What's even the point of a super soldier serum? You already have one right here. Now, before we move on, I'd like to address some common defenses that come up with the scene because I think there's some really stupid defenses that come up with the scene. Number 1, the jetpack gave him the power to lift the truck. Okay, that's not how it works. Yes, the jetpack helped him, but at the end of the day, the pressure from that jetpack and lifting the truck would have crushed his chest. This isn't hard to understand. A lot of people also cite that it's because it's made of vibranium, but what difference does that make? Vibranium doesn't make the human stronger unless he digests vibranium. This was established in Black Panther. Falcon has vibranium armor. That doesn't make him a superhuman. Another very common one, perhaps the most common, is it's just a superhero show, so who cares? I see this one everywhere. Just because it's a comic book show doesn't mean it gets a pass. It doesn't mean it can't write cleverly. That's just saying like, hey, comic book shows, you can write lazily because, well, because. The idea of telling writers, hey, it's just a comic book show, so you might as well write it, is just so creatively lazy to me, and I can never stand by it. Plus, if that's the case, then every comic book film gets a pass. Why doesn't Daredevil get a pass for him jumping off buildings with a lot of stories and not dying? Shouldn't that film get a pass because it's just a comic book film? Aren't those things forgivable? Look, like and defend whatever you want, that's perfectly fine. I'm just pointing out that the idea that it's just a comic book film so it's okay is a very vague defense, so it makes it kind of hard to follow when we criticize one movie for this, but not the other. The next defense that I'm going to address is, well, it wasn't actually free falling, it was just about to fall. That truck was absolutely about to fall. Just watch the scene again. It was literally seconds from free falling. In fact, it was about to free fall, like a millisecond away, until Falcon swooped in and caught it. The pressure from the thrusters putting him up, going to his arms, to him lifting the truck, should have crushed him. Not just his chest, but him. Like, he should be dead. Now, let me be clear. If you defend this scene and you love it, that's perfectly fine. I just address these defenses because I know they're going to come flooding in the comment section, so might as well address them now. So right after this, we jump to the crowd and we hear,
The Black Falcon there! I tell you.
Nah, that's Captain America.
I already made fun of this stupid moment, so I'll just move on. Sam gets to the Flag Smashers, Bucky, Karli, and the rest of them. Then Batroc shoots some gas grenades and they get away, and Falcon waits about 10 seconds to let them get away before using his visor to figure out where they're going. The Flag Smashers run and split up. John Walker and Bucky go for one set, and Falcon, Sharon go for the one with Karli. Sharon finds Karli first, and she points a gun at her and tells her to drop her weapon. Karli then puts her weapon up, and for some reason, Sharon doesn't shoot her. I mean, I'm not saying she has to kill her. I get she doesn't want to kill her. But you could shoot her in the arm because, you know, she's pointing a gun at you. But no, instead, she actually does this. Why would you do that? Just shoot her hand. She had the drop on her and literally just gives it up like an idiot. It makes even less sense when you realize that she's the power broker.
So you're the power broker.
Karli and Sharon talk about their past because they need an exposition dump because, well, because.
And you betrayed me. Because you wanted to control a world that hurt you. But I wanted to change it.
Come back and work for me again. All of you, we can make a difference together.
You just want me because you need your muscle back. Without our super soldiers, how much power does a power broker really have?
More than you.
So after they're done revealing the twist that Sharon was the villain all along, they then reveal that Batroc was her spy. For some reason, Batroc chooses now to blackmail her, even though it'd be a lot smarter to do it at a different time. The show wasn't showing any signs of intelligence though before this, so why would I even expect it to change? Now I think is a good time to talk about the Sharon twist. I don't hate it, it felt out of place. It was very out of left field. It felt like they didn't know what to do with her, so they thought this was the only thing to do. I don't necessarily hate the idea of Sharon going bad, but the way it was executed was absolutely abysmal. It was a complete 180, even compared to the Sharon we saw in episode 3. It just feels very out of nowhere. It also creates the issue in episode 3, which is she runs into the room with the doctor, even though the doctor knows who she is and could actually rat her out as the power broker. But luckily for her, Zemo shot him, so he can't do that. But if he hadn't, would he have ratted her out? Who knows? But she was willing to take the risk, I guess. I'm not entirely sure. It kind of creates a bit of a contrivance. After Batroc blackmails Sharon, Sharon shoots him, and then Karli shoots her. This makes Sharon look like even more of an idiot. Why would you turn on someone to shoot them when someone else has a gun pointed at you who probably intends to shoot you? Why not just lie to Batroc and make it seem like you're going to do the deal and then shoot him? Or maybe just disarm Karli in the first place, you idiot. Anything would be a better option, but she chose the worst one. I don't know, just anything but the option she chose, which is probably the worst option. Sam hears this and rushes over. Meanwhile, John Walker and Bucky apprehend the Flag Smashers. Unfortunately, this opens up a new problem.
You don't want to do this.
Yeah, we do.
We could have been a team. Why are you making me do this?
Why are you making me do this?
And strict justice. It's a great app. Lincoln? Really? Great man. Great quote.
You might be thinking right now, why did I play those clips back to back? It feels like there's something missing in the middle. That's the problem. There is something missing in the middle. We just don't see it. These clips I just played are from episodes 5 and 6. The first few with the fight are from episode 5, when they break Walker's arm. The ones with the Lincoln quote are from the finale. Why has Bucky not apologized for mistreating him before episode 4 for like a long time over something that Sam did? Why did Bucky not apologize for actually wanting to fight him, even though that's not what heroes do in that scenario? Meanwhile, Sam fights Karli. Karli gets a gun. She's about to shoot him, but then Sharon shoots her. Why are you playing sad music? She's a terrorist. She's someone who believed in genocide. Why are you playing sad music? It's not like she pulled a Darth Vader and did one last thing to save people. The very last thing she ever did was trying to kill Sam Wilson, the protagonist. He is a garbage protagonist, but still, that's not gonna get me to sympathize with her.
I'm sorry.
Really? You're sorry after you just tried to kill him? If you had not been shot, you would have shot him. What do you mean you're sorry? Sam then brings Karli out of the building, and he gets to talk to some senators.
You have to stop calling them terrorists.
I beg your pardon?
Sam Wilson is literally an idiot on this show. How is she not a terrorist? I'd like to remind everyone, having a reason for the crime you're committing doesn't mean you're not committing the crime that you're committing. For those of you who agree with this, fine, I guess, but let me ask you something that maybe will challenge your perspective. Do you realize that by Sam's logic, we're not allowed to call Arthur Fleck a murderer and Joker? Joker killed Murray, but he had a reason for it. Murray made fun of him on TV. So would we make the same argument for Joker? Would we say, you have to stop calling him a murderer? He had a reason for what he did. These labels are stupid. Do not call him what he is. That's not nice. I mean, I'm all for different beliefs and all. You're entitled to your own beliefs and that's all cool. But I'm sorry, don't take offense to this, but I really don't know how you can argue she's not a terrorist when by definition she's pretty much exactly what a terrorist is. Is she killing people? Yes. Why is she killing people? Because of her political agenda. Oh, look. Anyway, back to the episode. Sam continues to lecture politicians about doing better or something. In this entire garbage speech, he's literally just saying do better, but he's not saying how we do better. He's just saying, do better, Senator. Well, how? Well, just do better, okay? In this scene, Sam feels like a Karen who's just lecturing people on stuff that he clearly doesn't actually have a clear understanding of.
But you have no idea how complicated this situation is.
You're right. And that's a good thing.
As I said, a Karen. Do people not realize the implications of this incredibly idiotic statement? You know, let's just throw the educational system out the window. Stop with the schools. Stop sending me to school. Because, hey, Sam said that it's okay to not know everything. In fact, that's better. I mean, he doesn't know a single thing about the situation, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Logic doesn't matter. I mean, who in their right mind is going to listen to this guy when he himself doesn't seem to be educated on it? In fact, he isn't. I could tell because of how stupid he is in the scene. For crying out loud, it sounds like he's arguing that it's okay for the government to kick people out of their homes even if they disappeared while they owned those homes, because new people got those homes while those people were dead, even though those people are back. See what I mean? Falcon's just kind of, you know, insane. Just like Karli. Perfect match.
I don't understand. I'm a black man carrying the stars and stripes.
Shut the up!
But I thought it was about the mantle of Captain America being handled by a black man. I thought it had nothing to do with the fact that you were black. How does carrying the stars and stripes and being black matter? I thought it was about the mantle. I genuinely feel bad for the people who screamed on Twitter about how it's about the mantle being handed to him. It has nothing to do with being a black man being handed stripes. Even though this episode is just giving them a middle finger, I genuinely feel so bad. I mean, if you use the defense, that's fine. I think it's invalid, but if you use that defense, that's perfectly fine. I have friends who have used that defense back before episode 6 came out. But then episode 6 came out and just gave it a middle finger. I'm not saying those people are wrong. I'm not saying I hate those people. I'm not even trying to look down upon them. I just think it's kind of funny that the show gave its own fan base a middle finger who defended episode 5 so heavily and defended Isaiah so heavily, even though the show is trying to say Isaiah is wrong. I just find it funny. Please don't take offense to that. Please, I'm begging you. I honestly mean no harm. Sam continues to preach to the senators for a few minutes about stuff he doesn't understand because, well, Sam is frankly a disingenuous Karen. Bucky goes to see the old man Yuri from the first episode because in the first episode, Bucky had killed Yuri's son. He goes to tell him this very bluntly, just to explain to him to get off his chest because he's been waiting through the whole season. The whole season building up to this. There's no way they can disappoint.
I have to tell you something about your son. He was murdered. What? By a Winter Soldier. And that was me. Why? I didn't have a choice.
Son of a bitch! Why? Is this the editor or the director? I don't know. Did you even shoot Yuri's reaction or was that cut for some reason? I don't know. You built up to that moment so you can cut away from Yuri's reaction. What? Stop! I don't have many brain cells left for you to take, man. So yeah, we built up to all that so we don't even know what Yuri's thinking of Bucky right now. We don't know if he hates him. We don't know if he likes him. We don't know if he has pity for him. We don't know if he's even speaking to him because the show just didn't feel like telling us. Thanks, Malcolm. Later on, we see Sam, after some time has passed, going to Isaiah to talk to him. Sam has a really nice surprise for Isaiah. Apparently, he was able to get his monument at the Captain America Museum. Hold on, what? Isaiah's records were destroyed. He was erased from the entire world, basically. And you're telling me Sam was able to get this monument up in a few days? Like that quickly? Something like that takes like a long time, at least several months, realistically several years, of investigations and all kinds of things. It'd take a long time. If the show had ended with him starting the process of it, that'd be a different story. But it doesn't. It ends with this really weird ending of them just establishing it and not using logic because the show hates logic, I guess. By the way, that's not me. That's the actual show, just so you know. Obviously, I cut some pretty small parts out to avoid copyright, but the general gist and transition is exactly the same. They actually decided to put the emotional, sad scene directly next to the celebration happy scene. I don't understand. Editor, what were you thinking? And there we are. The show is finally over. The torment, the pain, the torture. It's all done. Man, this show had such potential. It could have been the best MCU product in years. Looking back on the show now, I honestly can't call any episodes great. Because here's the thing I've noticed. The only episodes that are good, which I would say are episodes 1, 3, and 4, at least I would have before, those episodes only work if their payoffs are good. Kind of like Force Awakens, but on a deeper level. Force Awakens was so obsessed with the mystery box thing that J.J. Abrams loves and just left so many threads open that it actually needed Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker to validate it and to make that film great. But when Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker came out and had several issues, what happened? A lot of us, myself included, looked back at Force Awakens and realized that it actually had quite a few issues. The same thing happened here, only even worse. Episodes 1, 3, and 4 were so obsessed with just being setup episodes and were such heavy setup episodes that they actually needed the final episodes to work. And if they didn't, the entire show fell apart because those episodes were strictly set up and what they were setting up was awful. That's the tragedy and the depressing part of Falcon Winter Soldier. It had some okay setup, but the payoffs were so bad that it broke the entire show. And looking back on it, I see even more problems in the first 4 episodes that I already explained earlier. The first 4 episodes don't even hold up anymore, and I blame a lot of that on them just being huge setup episodes. I miss when shows were about escapism, instead of preaching at me about what a terrorist actually is and about racism. Don't get me wrong, I don't care if those things aren't necessarily included in your show, but at least include them well. This show did not include them well. This show fell flat on its face trying to scream at me about what terrorism is because the show itself doesn't understand what a terrorist is. It feels like the show stopped trying. The only positives I can honestly say about this show anymore are John Walker was pretty good consistently, Bucky was okay, and the cinematography is pretty. That's all I got. This show is awful, man. I'm sorry. It has some filmmaking. It has pretty decent acting, but the characters are awful and abysmal. And the last episode alone is the single worst superhero content I've seen in years. Instead of ending with a bang and leaving me with joy, it ended horribly, and I'm still wondering when the MCU is going to be good again. Probably never. And man, I hate saying that, but I think it might be true.